if you don't become acquainted, I love how you said, like, who is this God that's with us? Because if we don't become acquainted with the scripture and knowing who he is and that he is present with us, you know, in whatever times that we're going through, during those rough times, you won't know that he's present because you'll be so focused, again, like you said, on those, you know, outward extremities, thinking about, you know, all of our other senses. You know, we're so sensitive to our senses during the time of trouble. You know, like God, I don't want to pray. I don't want to talk to God. He cannot be here. But it's like, if we would really learn and understand what peace is not the absence of troubles and trials and tribulations. It's like, I can have this magnificent obsession of rest even during the time of trouble, knowing that he is with me, right?
And there's no more time that's more troubling than Christmas.
Come on.
I mean, for women.
For women.
You
But
know,
why?
Well, you know, you got turkeys to stuff, got your arm down in the sink, you know, I can think about turkeys that were all the way up to my shoulder, you know, trying to pull that stuff out and stuff that stuff in. And I mean, there's a lot of pressure. You got to buy all the gifts and you got to get your hair right. And then you got to get your kids to smile for the family Christmas picture. That's got to be the hardest thing I did. That is a major accomplishment in my life that I've got, 30 years of family pictures I can think about saying to the kid, right? Smile. And they're all in that fake thing, you know? I mean, Jeannie's right. Christmas, decorating a tree. I can remember thinking I was going to fall off the ladder and pass out. I think Christmas brings joy. But it also is the opportunity for chaos. And I think it's an important time for us to talk about, you know, Christians, we have to really think through what the point of it all is and not really get caught up in the world of it.
I accept your will for me. And I think that's what Mary did. She just automatically, she was acquainted with this voice, had to be, or acquainted to know that this is something different outside of what I'm typically, you know, accustomed to.
This is not the norm.
This is not the norm. So it's like, okay, let me go with it. She didn't try to figure it out. She didn't say, okay, wait, let me go see how I'm going to do this. How am I going to cover my steps? Let me think about. She didn't get so caught up in the stuff that we get caught up in, like, okay, now what size tree I'm going to get, who I got to get a gift for. It's like, it's not even about all of that. It's like, you do what you can do without the pressures of it. I think women, well, some men as well, we put so many pressures on ourselves to perform. It's a pressure to perform, you know, a pressure to be perfect, a pressure to, you know, to present something different. And it's like, just relax.
But
if the tree don't get up, it doesn't get up.
It's going to be there. But something I love about Mary's story is also the power of a village. Because you see how God, like even the language of God with us, right? This plural community language. And I think part of what Mary gave her this willingness, you know, not only was she submitted, but then she just had, you know, Elizabeth, who is barren. And Elizabeth is like, not only are they with child, there's a story connected to this. There's an angel. Like, so there's this same language. And I think it's beautiful when we also recognize the people that God places in our lives to represent his love. That there's some people that when we don't take them for granted, when we, you know, recognize, like, you're not in my life by accident. Their presence reminds you, like, God is with me.
But listen, but how many people push people away?
And I think that's an attack from the enemy. This mindset of, like, even when we look at with the pandemic and everything, this isolation. And yes, we may, you know, when we experience a pandemic, yes, you might be on lockdown, but it doesn't stop you from calling. It doesn't stop you from reaching out to someone. And so I do think that even in acknowledging, and I love that we're talking about this during Christmas, a time where we gather together together. Because I believe that God also recognizes the importance of community, the importance of people. Because even like when we were planning the wedding, so a few months prior to the wedding, my husband lost his father. And he lost his mom a couple years ago. I lost my dad as a baby, and in Nigeria, the whole embassy situation was backed up. So in order for my mom to renew her visa to come into the country, they pushed it all out to like 2023. And I remember being in prayer, and I said, God, she's the only living parent we have. And I know you're there, but I want my mom here. She's our mom.
Right.
I need her. I said, I know you're with me, but I need my mother here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I remember like my brothers calling me, and they're like, hey, are you guys going to push it? What's going to happen? And the voice of God said to me, keep planning. She'll be there.
Come on.
And no one knew how that was going to happen, because literally this is coming from, the U.S. government saying, hey, we have nothing until the 2023. And I'm like, no, God told me she'll be here. So it's going to work out. And we kept planning. It was maybe about 2 weeks prior to the wedding. They changed her date.
Come on.
They renewed it a week.
No
She
way.
came into the country
Wonderful.
a couple days prior to the wedding. And the Lord said, I told you I will sort it out. And that touched my heart.
Yeah, but the comfort came in knowing
He is with me. And he gave me a word.
That's where the comfort came. So if you were not acquainted with his word and his voice, then where would the comfort come from?
True.
A lot of people read scripture, but it's not real to them. They haven't really become one with it.
Yeah.
And so the only way we can really have that comfort, because we hear things all the time. We say, God, is that you? Or is that me? But, your husband can call you right now and you're going to know his voice because you spend quality time with him. So we have to spend quality time with him in his presence and in his word to know that it's his voice.
I like what you said too, when you talked about, a village.
Yeah.
And if God is in me and God is in you, God is in you, God is in you, there's a part of God that you have that's different than mine.
So
and
good.
God is so big. We'll never understand how big God is. We try to fit him into our box of human understanding, but God is a spirit and he's vast. So if you have a part of God, I have a part of God, the value of my relationships become incredibly important because God will use who you are, because God is in you, to speak to me, to encourage me, to potentially instruct me or encourage me, maybe even chastise me if I've got that kind of a relationship, because God is in me, he is in you, and he wants us to experience all of who he is.
Naturally, we understand that everything in the natural really is just a replication of the things that are in the spiritual arena.
Right.
It flows the same way. And it made me think about even being married, having your husband there with you in the time of trouble.
Yeah.
Because we always like to know that someone is present, that someone is there, to be with us. I think about times when I've had struggles or I've had challenges. And, I remember even not long ago, I was laying in the bed and I was just going through a whole mix of emotions. I guess I was acting out in the hands of God. I like that way. I think that's what I'm going to use it, opposed to me just being crazy. That was a nice way to say it. But I was laying in the bed and I had started crying. I started going through so many different emotions and started to really view, the external opposed to even not acknowledging internally what was, really inside of me. And I couldn't get myself together. It was like I just was struggling. And I picked up the phone and I texted my husband. I said, something is going on. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get myself together. And typically, because I'm so tough, I'm usually the one to say, oh, come on, get yourself together. Get up, let's go. I thought he was going to do that to me. Well, he came right into the room and he started to pray with me and he started to minister to me. And he said, okay, come on, let's get up. Let's, go wash your face and get something to eat. And the comfort that came as a result of him just being present was so amazing. And it really made me think about the presence of God. It's like, God, if this man can be here in the natural for me, how much more are you here for me, spiritually, even when he's not here?
At TBN, our mission is to use every available means to reach as many individuals and families as possible with the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you for helping make the gospel of grace go around the world.
And it's because of you that partner with us that this ministry continues. God bless you.